Good morning, security gang. New intro, by the way, much shorter, no noise. For everyone tuning in, I'm James Azar. I'm the host, Chief Information Security Officer. Thank you for tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. We've got a packed show, our first show of the year, January 5th, 2026. Wow. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? 2026, and what a start to the year, right? I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the fact that our bravest men and women really pulled off a a phenomenal operation in Venezuela to bring a narco terrorist of that state, the dictator of Venezuela, Maduro, to trial in the U.S. For everything he's done to our nation. So hats off to the men and women of law enforcement. Hats off to the White House. Hats off to the Pentagon. Hats off to many friends and many agencies that I know that have been tirelessly working around the clock to keep this nation secure. Hats off to all of y'all. Thank you. America's 250 years old in just 7 short months. July 4th of 2026. This nation will be celebrating 250 years. America's 250. So it's a patriotic year here on the show. We're not going to apologize for it. So we've got a lot to talk about today, including a Fortune 500 claims giant battle Trident locker. A White House divestment order is shaking a chip deal. Fortinet and Cisco headlines where you cannot ignore an AWS crypto mining campaign that turns your own cloud against you. All of that on this morning's show. Let's get started with some espresso because that's a tradition here for everyone tuning in 2026. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. We're very close, by the way, to breaking 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. So close. So close. All right. We're going to kick off this morning's show, folks, with Sedgwick confirming a cyber incident. The Trident Locker gang claiming the hit. Sedgwick says a file transfer system was accessed by the attackers. The Trident Locker ransomware group posted employee data samples and took credit, but Sedgwick is reporting the impact was contained to a segmented file transfer environment. No core claims. Systems were affected and operations remain ongoing while forensics continue. There's going to be some legal notification and partner questions. When PII is confirmed compromised, obviously employee information is PII. So there's that there. We don't know how they got in yet. So it's hard to kind of work on mitigation. But for those who don't know, Sedgwick is a risk kind of a claims and risk management services to federal agencies like DHS, ICE, CBP, Citizenship and Immigration Services, the Department of Labor, and even CISA. So they do have some really critical information on government and federal employees here. Once we understand what happened there, we'll bring you the latest as well as what to consider there as well. Now, they say the file transfer system, we don't know how they got in. Likely getting into a file transfer system means compromising someone within the business and being able to move laterally with those credentials. Identity, I wrote it in the 2025 kind of summary of the year that's available on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com. That identity is the new perimeter. You've got to put everything you've got in that bucket. You got to make sure you're covering it from A to Z. Otherwise, you're leaving yourself vulnerable. All right, we'll continue here. So before we got Maduro, President Trump stopped a $2.9 billion chip deal on national security grounds. Now, sorry, 2.9 million. I said $1 million deal. This is significant. The presidential order requires divestment tied to a 2.9 million semiconductor transaction, citing national security risk around potential access to U.S. critical technology and data. Again, deal diligence is going to be critical here, but this is coming on a spotlight on a business deal that drew scant attention when it was announced during Biden's administration. The deal involved the aerospace and defense specialist Emcor Corp selling its computer chips and wafer fabrication operations to HeFu, a price that includes the assumption of about $1 million in liabilities. Trump is now demanding that HeFu divest that technology within 180 days, citing credible evidence that the current owner is a citizen of the People's Republic of China. Again, good for President Trump to do this. I mean, look, geopolitically, when you look at what happened with Maduro, and I look at kind of cyber, it's rattled a lot of cages, and many experts have spent, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, talking about this and kind of giving their opinions. As let me give you mine from my experience, right? This shook some cages everywhere because the thought wasn't that they were going to get Maduro this way. The thought was that it either, try to assassinate him or work on an off ramp, which apparently he was offered many off ramps. He didn't take those, according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. But this has something else to it. Now, imagine you're running a multi-million or billion-dollar cyber crime operation backed by a nation state, and you're sitting in a third nation state, let's say somewhere in Eastern Europe. You're not in Russia, you're not in China. You're definitely worried now because you do realize that there's nothing stopping the United States from dropping special forces to bring you to justice. Not saying it's going to stop cybercrime at all. But I'm saying there's a ripple effect to it. I saw it in chatter rooms over the weekend, in Telegram and other chatter rooms I'm a part of with cyber criminals really kind of having this discussion internally. There's something to it here, right? Now, blocking this deal to China, what does all this have to do? He blocked this deal on Friday. He took Maduro on Saturday after Maduro hours earlier met with the Chinese to talk about their 2026 alignment. President Trump is playing a chess game with Xi Jinping, and something to keep an eye on here geopolitically. I expect that the Chinese are going to get far more active in cyberspace, way more active this year, maybe than ever before, folks. Just my prediction. All right. So a scattered lapsus hunters and resecurity talking about who hacked who. So the group claiming to be shiny hunters posted data they say came from resecurity. The company called it a stage honeypot and says the dump is fabricated and synthetic. So they're running a deception thing at resecurity. Good, but plan your comms because threat actors are going to try to embarrass you. And so if they're going after your own honeypot, have your comms in play. Scattered shiny hunters for their end say they weren't involved in this. It was scattered lapsus and not shiny hunters, the whole thing of them coming together. They said that they gained full access to the resecurity systems. The group wrote on Telegram claiming to stolen all internal chats and logs, full employee data, threat intel related reports, and even a complete client list with details. As for the proof of the claims, they published screenshots that were allegedly from resecurity. But it appears to be Matter's most collaboration incident showing communication between resecurity employees and Pastebin personnel regarding malicious content hosted on the site. So nothing in there. Resecurity for their end are saying that was a honeypot. We got the telemetry, and here's how they collected this telemetry. So kind of trying to prove it with logs. I'm gonna take resecurity on this one, folks. I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna take them on this one. Threat actors have a history of exaggerating. They exaggerate not for us; they exaggerate for other criminals they're trying to hustle and get money out of. So they're not really going to get anything out of resecurity by doing this. They are going to try and sell that data to someone, and some poor sucker may pay for it because they don't watch the show. All right. We'll continue with Adobe Cold Fusion servers are being targeted in a coordinated attack, something y'all need to pay attention to. Researchers are observing coordinated malicious activity against exposed Cold Fusion servers, including exploitation chains, landing web shells across misconfigured or even unpatched instances. If you're still running Cold Fusion, you want to confirm patch levels, disable admin interfaces from the internet, and sweep for any unexpected CFIDE artifacts or even some web shells within that environment. That'll help get that in. And this one coming from Gray Noise, by the way. So there's that. Okay, let's move to, if you're a Fortinet customer, there's about 10,000 Fortinet firewalls that are still exposed to the MFA bypass. That's CVE 2020-12812, folks. This is 5 years old. Shadow servers still count over 10,000 Fortinet devices still vulnerable to a 2020 bug that lets attacker bypass the Forti token by changing username case. Fortinet again is warning of active exploitation and notes risk is higher with LDAP enabled configs. Your immediate steps: patch it to either 6.4.1, 6.2.4, 6.0.10 plus current sets. Set a username case sensitivity to off as an interim. If you can't patch, review SSL and VPN authentication logs for any mismatched casings, and you should be rotating credentials. Again, once they get in, they've got lateral movement and ransomware, and their dwell time, nothing at all. So just keep that in mind, folks. Keep that in mind, gang. It's significant there. All right. We'll move to the Rondodox botnet abusing React to Shell path. Again, React to Shell still active. It's not gone away. It won't go away. A new campaign dubbed Rondodox is weaponizing the ongoing React to Shell ecosystem of flaws to recruit nodes and even move payloads. You want to treat any externally reachable app with React or Node middleware as high risk if it's unpatched. Lockdown admin path. You should be enabling WAF virtual patching rules and look for any unusual reverse tunneling tooling as a way to try and identify and threat hunt in your environment should they be taking advantage of it. Again, this is CVE 2025-55182. So keep an eye out for it there as well. Criminals are abusing Google Cloud email to boost delivery rates of their spam mail. Their actors are hijacking trusted cloud email infrastructures to improve inbox placement and persistence for phishing, leveraging multi-stage kill chains and domain rotations, reduce implicit trust in cloud sent mail, enforce DMARC, DKIM, and SPF alignment, tighten your API sender policies, and implement content-aware detections for internal look-in mail sent via external services. All of that will go a long way there. And again, really significant here because what Checkpoint is saying is they take advantage of trusted associated with Google Cloud infrastructure to send messages so that they can bypass traditional email filters. And when they do that, they get into inbox and they maintain persistence. Okay, we move to Israel and Handala. The battle over hacking telephones is really increasing, and it's kind of showing you what's happening with devices that used to be secure. So Handala, for their end, claimed that they've hacked the phone of Naftali Bennett, the former prime minister, of Tzachi Breverman, the chief of staff for current Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Now they're saying they've hacked the phone of former Naftali Bennett allied associate Ayelet Shaked. So all of that coming in, and you go, why is this happening? Well, the claims here are touting about full compromise of high-profile Israeli figures, but the analysis is pointing to something completely different. Targeted Telegram account takeovers like SIM swap or SS7 interception, phishing, or even session theft via T data rather than total device control. So they're not really they're not really hacking their phone. They're rather hacking their Telegram account, and then they're using that as a way to make those claims. Handala and obviously has been doing this. This is coming from Kella Group, who is kind of saying, like, look, we did some forensics on the leaked material. Most of these conversations were empty contact cards automatically generated by Telegram during synchronization. About 40 of those conversations contained actual messages, with even fewer showing substantial exchanges. All exposed contacts linked to active Telegram accounts, confirming the data originated from Telegram itself, not from the device. So that kind of shows you the kind of exaggeration of these claims in the media and then by these thread groups. Okay, we'll move to more geopolitics here because it's huge, especially in the cyber realm. Finland arresting ship crew after a Baltic cable damage in the Finnish free zone there. Opportunity zone is what they call it. The Finnish police arrested 2 crew members of the cargo ship Fitberg after an undersea telecom cable operated by Elisa was damaged in Estonia's EEZ. Investigators are mapping the seabed with robots and sonar. The ship carried Russia-origin sanctioned steel. So again, subsea infrastructure fragility equals real-world downtime risk. So you want to ensure you have a multi-carrier diversity and add a band plans for critical comms if you rely on this, like some of our friends over the Atlantic do. The interviews have clarified the course of events and the different roles of the crew members, according to Detective Chief Superintendent Risto Luhi, leading the investigation on behalf of Finland's National Bureau of Investigation. The Fitberg was seized on New Year's Eve amid a spat of cable faults detected in the Baltic Sea, the majority of which the Estonian Ministry of Justice attributed to recent stormy weather. However, damage to a telecom cable operated by Finnish company Elisa running through Estonia's exclusive economic zone is suspected to have been caused by a cargo ship as it transited through. So one of the ways they do that, by the way, is they'll throw something overboard, like the anchor, and then they'll drag it to try and damage the C cords and cut communication. It's one way. Other ways they use these submarines, these suicidal submarines, in there to go in and then actually do the damage too. So all in all, you're seeing the kinetic aspect of cyber always coming front. And again, the kinetic aspect of cyber will never go away. Cyber's just a method. Kinetic is always going to be there. That's it for our first show for 2026, folks. You can subscribe, follow us on your favorite podcast listening platform. We're still there. We're available on audio, on any podcast listening platform, on video, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Rumble, X, Facebook. Catch us anywhere you like to get your videos. Make sure to subscribe. Turn on the bell. We go live at 9 a.m. Monday through Thursday. So come and check it out there. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great and happy new year. And most importantly, y'all, stay cyber.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.